body recomp is so much deeper than just doing it. No matter how much you work out or how many days you spend in the gym, it's really all for nothing if your nutrition isn't dialed in. And it's like, I'd say 70 to 80% nutrition. For me, walking is therapeutic. It's like scientifically proven to reduce stress. It increases your creativity. It makes you more productive. We all live differently. We have different beliefs. We have different motives. We have different higher powers. And that's the beauty of humanity. Everyone's different, and there are different training splits for different seasons. 1010%. If you take one thing from this episode, for the love of God, just all right, you guys, welcome to the Talk More with Laura podcast. Today's episode is going to be more of an educational topic. I like to kind of flip-flop between self-help, self-betterment, and kind of touch on some other topics that I talk about on my Instagram, but go into just deeper into these topics with you all, because you can only say so much in a 90-second reel or story. So a lot of questions, this kind of just aligns with a lot of questions that I receive honestly on a daily basis. And I figured I would just kind of form it into one whole episode where the title is 4 habits to implement and 4 mental shifts to make for a healthier you. So habits to implement, mental shifts that you need to make in your brain that are going to help you ultimately become a healthier version of yourself. And also really it's just going to help you. This kind of all ties into body recomp, and this is something that I talk a lot about on my Instagram and my transformations. And so these are all kind of going to tie together because these are 4 things that I had to kind of switch in my brain to ultimately understand that body recomp is so much deeper than just doing it. Because it's not a quick fix. And so I was kind of reflecting on, how does somebody make a transformation like this happen? What needs to shift in your brain for something like this to go down? And I wanted to break it down for you guys into 4 parts. But before we get into the episode, silly, goofy thing of the week. So this is actually funny, and I already posted about it, but if you didn't see, I got an email. The irony of this is hilarious. I literally received an email yesterday saying, hello, Lauren. We're casting for a reality TV show, Temptation Island. And I was like, the irony of this is hilarious. It was clearly like a mass email, but it was like, we found your profile on Instagram and TikTok. And I know that there's people that cast for these shows and just like to look anybody up. But anyway, I thought that was hilarious. It was like, we're casting for couples and singles, which I thought was even more funny because I was like, how ironic is this? Like, do they actually know who I am? And do they actually know that I'm dating Tyler? And do they want us to come back on, or are they just reaching out to me as a single and they don't really know the full story? Like, I just thought it was hilarious. So that was kind of something silly that happened to me yesterday. But it's Memorial Day weekend and the weather's going to be kind of crappy in Nashville. So today I'm planning on just going to the pool, but I'm excited for June, you guys. May is coming to an end, and I am honestly I love like the start of a new month because it gives me an opportunity to kind of reassess just like where I'm at. And every month I kind of sit down and journal my goals for the month, and they could be small, like super small things, but it kind of just gives me like a reset. And I'm really excited about June and the summer and just warm weather and everything. But let's get into the episode. So 4 habits to implement and 4 mental shifts to make for a healthier you. So first I wanted to define what is a habit and what does it mean. So a habit is a behavior or an action that you do regularly, often automatically, because it has become something ingrained in your brain through repetition. It's something you typically do without having to think about it, like brushing your teeth in the morning or checking your phone when you wake up. So a habit is actually something that takes around 21 days to form, but on average, it takes 66 days for a behavior to become automatic. So when you think about a habit versus a lifestyle change, those are two kind of different things, because a habit is something that might take shorter to form, but that lifestyle implementation is actually what we're talking about. So I wanted to talk about both, but I wanted to give you those stats basically to just say that it's going to take at least a month or two for you to do these things, for it to become second nature to you. And it might seem foreign and overwhelming at first, but that's why I wanted to break it down into 4 parts to make it really simple for you guys, because these are 4 things that I do that ultimately just helped me in the beginning of my journey, and things that I still do to this day that help me stay on track. Um, and so just keep this in mind, like, you know, keep this in the back of your mind that you want to give yourself at least a month, and even longer than that. Like, it might even and I think it's like 90 days is really when that lifestyle implementation happens. So like it could take anywhere from a month to 90 days for you to really for these things to come natural. Like, you don't think about them twice, you just do it, and next thing you know, you look back and you're like, "Whoa, I'm like unrecognizable from the inside out." Like, I feel better about myself internally, but I also look different, and I look really toned, and I look awesome. And so that is ultimately what I want to break down today. And so as I was reflecting on my journey, um my boyfriend and I talk a lot about this, because we both have pretty drastic transformations in terms of just the gym, and we both really like to lift weights, and it wasn't always like that. You don't just come out of the womb and uh have like a snatched body, typically speaking. I mean, there might be some lucky people out there that are just like freaking shredded, but typically that's not the case. And so Tyler and I like to talk a lot about our journeys, and we both agree that body recomp is something so internal that has to happen. Like, it's so much of a mental shift and a mental discipline. And so until you reach that point where you have this shift in your head is when you're going to see results. And so when I was looking back on my life, when I worked at C Spark Go, it's this marketing agency that I worked at when I first moved to Nashville. I worked there for about 3 years. That's when I was doing my 9 to 5. I was sitting at a desk all day, and I realized that, when I'm talking about these things, you guys, I don't want you to think like, "Oh, Lauren, this must be so easy for you. This is your job. Like, of course you have time to dedicate all this stuff to you." I want to preface that when I did all this stuff, I was still working my 9 to 5. I was still sitting at a desk, and I was still just working a normal job like most people are. So I'm speaking to these people, to you all, with that in mind. And so when I was reflecting back on just my desk job days, I I guess I kind of had to be honest with myself, because I wasn't overweight, I wasn't obese, but there were things in my life, I think, that had to go, that ultimately made me who I am today. And I had to sit down and be honest with myself. And I think a lot of people are afraid to look internally sometimes and be honest with their efforts. And so for me, when I was doing this in the very beginning, I wasn't eating right. I wasn't eating bad. I wasn't eating junk food, really. I was just not eating right. I was just snacking a lot, and it was like healthy. I use quotes, healthy snacks, but not really. Like, I was eating like pita chips and hummus for lunch, and like a granola bar for breakfast, and like something random for dinner. It was just random, and it had no um sustenance to it, like no whole foods behind the method. I just didn't have a method, I guess. I was just kind of like grabbing and going, didn't really think twice about what I was eating. And to me, it was like healthy because it wasn't junk food, but it wasn't like, you know what I mean? So it was that weird in between. And then also I think I was just in the wrong mental state where I wasn't really paying attention to um my the what's it called? The body makeup of what, like, I was doing a lot of cardio. I wasn't really thinking twice about like, oh, there was just something that wasn't clicking in my brain. I was like, I'm doing burn boot camp. I'm doing a lot of hit workouts. And, I'm like pretty happy with where I'm at, but I would look at videos and girls on Instagram. I remember like I have like screenshots on my phone like in 2021 of girls that were like super toned and sculpted. And I was like, I'm happy with how I look, but I don't look like that. Like I'm not, um turning heads by any means. And so then I just got curious and I was like, oh, okay, these girls are actually lifting weights, like heavier weights, like that makes sense. And so I had to have that mental shift where I was like, okay, I need to throw away the Apple Watch and stop paying so much attention to the calories I'm burning and where my heart rate's at and just pay more attention to like lifting weights. And that was really hard for me to like make that mental shift because I was like, how is me sitting here doing a bicep curl gonna I had a really hard time making that mental shift of staying stationary and like doing a squat or a bicep curl. It really did not click in my head, you guys. And so um I'm going to kind of break it down for you. So basically what I did was I looked at my life and I was like, what's off? What needs to change? And so these four things, I broke it down into number one, nutrition, number two, walking, number three, there are different seasons for different workout splits, paying attention to yourself and how you feel. And then number four is your mental health. So we're going to break it down. And the first one I'm going to talk about is nutrition because that is arguably the most important one because no matter how much you work out or how many days you spend in the gym, it's really all for nothing if your nutrition isn't dialed in. And it's like I'd say 70 to 80% nutrition. And so what I have found is really just taking a step back and looking at everything I was eating and understanding that I was probably only eating like 60 grams of protein back in the day before I really understood the importance of protein and why it is so important and why you need it to rebuild your muscle fibers. And so what I did, this is probably the number one question I always get on my Instagram is like, were you tracking your macros? Like, how did you do it? Like, oh my gosh, like just all these questions. You guys, I didn't do anything. All I did was eat more protein. That's literally all I did. I didn't track anything. I literally did not dive into the weeds of macros until later on. And macros are a beautiful tool that you can use to understand body recomp and understand like the importance of protein and calories. But like I don't know, you don't have to stress about it so much, I guess, is what I'm trying to say. And I think the biggest difference that I made in my nutrition was meal prepping. 1010%. If you take one thing from this episode, for the love of God, just meal prep your food because especially if you are working a 9 to 5 and you make the excuse of you don't have time, you always have time, okay? You have to make time for it. Yes, it's going to be maybe annoying at first, but going back to those habits, let's say for the next 21 days, you make it a goal to go grocery shopping on Sundays and meal prep your food, meal prep your lunches and your dinners. So you pack your lunch to work every day and you already know what you're eating for dinner. Boom. You know exactly what you're eating and you know exactly how much protein you're putting in your body. So start with meal prepping and start with protein heavy foods. So start your day with eggs or protein oatmeal or something like that. And then for lunch, have some sort of ground turkey or chicken or something like that, and just build your meals around your protein sources. And you can get really creative with this, and it might take a while for your body to adjust. I know certainly for me it did, because I had cravings for like salty foods like pretzels and like veggie straws and things like that. But and then once I started to kind of change my diet and eat like clean foods and vegetables and fruits and things like that, at first my body went into shock. I was like, oh my gosh, like I like was craving everything and needed salty foods, but now I don't crave it anymore because my body adjusted. And that's the beauty of a habit is, just stick to it. It's going to be probably uncomfortable for the first 30 days, but just stick to whole foods. Like literally when you go into the grocery store on a Sunday, spend all of your time and your money on the rim of the store. Do not go into the inside aisles because that's where all the processed food is. Yeah, but you could get, black beans or something. But I spend all my time on the rim of the store. So I'm only eating clean foods like 90% of the time. And that's what I do, you guys. That's like the number one thing I would advise you to do is meal prep. And that's what I do to this day. That is the number one thing I changed in the very beginning, and I still do it. And we're 4 years into this, and I will never go back. I do it every single Sunday. And it has been a game changer because you're not tempted to go eat out or whatever it is, and you can still live your life and eat out on the weekends. Like I do that with Tyler all the time. But that during the week you are just dialed in, and you don't have those weird cravings anymore. And it really helps. Number 2, I would say, is walking. And for me, walking is like, yes, it's therapeutic. It's like scientifically proven to reduce stress. It increases your creativity. It makes you more productive. For me, it's like, I literally don't even think twice about walking anymore. Excuse me, sorry. Because it, like, going back to that habit thing I was talking about, like it's something that I automatically do in my day. It's like I don't even think twice, like, oh, should I walk today or not? Like I know, just like I wake up and brush my teeth, and just like I make my bed every morning, I know I'm going on a walk. Like it is a non-negotiable in my day. And that's how I believe everyone should treat walking, because okay, like I said, it helps with creativity. It helps with like, there's so many benefits to walking. But for me, it's like my time to either like pray, or like sometimes I'll leave my phone away and I'll walk, and I'll make it more of a like just time with God where I pray and like reflect on things and clear my head. Or I'll use it as a time to multitask. I will write out my to-do lists. I will call a friend. I will send emails or text messages. Sometimes I'll have to time block where I'm like, on my walk today, I'm going to text everyone back, because I can be bad about texting people back. And I want to make sure that I'm on top of like checking in with my friends and checking in with my family. So like I'll use that time to multitask. So it really is like, it's whatever you make it. And for me, I do like, I'll start my day with like a short walk, and then midday another walk, and then after dinner another walk. So sometimes I'll break it up that way. Other times, if I don't have time in the morning, I'll do like a longer walk and a longer walk in the evening. And it's really not like getting 10,000 steps in a day really isn't that hard if you, again, like you make it, it's like a non-negotiable. It's like it's your time, and you cannot not do it, because it's just as important as brushing your teeth. Like treat it like that important, because walking, it's great for your mental, but it's also really great tool for fat loss. And I've definitely noticed a difference in my body from prioritizing walking. And it's easier for me because I'm like, I do work from home. So like my time that I get to go walk is like a time to get out of the house. And I know a lot of other people are working from home more. And I think walking is a great place to start if you're overwhelmed with working out. If you are starting from the bottom and you literally don't know where to start, like walking's like the best thing you can do. So just start with like a couple 20-minute walks throughout the day, and make it a priority. Like, yeah, maybe you are busy at work, but, take your lunch break. Like, don't, um, stress out so much about your to-do list or, like, I think that was, like, kind of the lie that I believed, like, when I used to work at my 9 to 5 is I wouldn't take my lunch because no one else was taking their lunch. Like, it would be this competition of, like, who could be more productive throughout the day, and, like, I wouldn't take my lunch, and I wouldn't go walk, and I wouldn't, like, I would just sit all day, and I hated it. I hated doing that, but I felt like I needed to because it was like a competition, if that makes sense. And I don't know if anyone else feels this way, but I certainly feel that way when I didn't work for myself. Like, I was just always comparing my productivity to everyone else and what everyone else was doing. And I just watched the way that a lot of my coworkers wouldn't get up from their desk and go for a walk, or they would order Uber Eats and get it into the office. Like, it's so, like, crazy to me how different my life is now and how much happier I am now because it didn't always used to be this way. But I guess my encouragement to you is to just focus on you. And maybe if you feel this, I don't know if that resonates with people, but I don't know. I guess it's like that's just like a that's just something in our culture. I think that's a problem where we're not wired, we're as human beings, we're not wired to just be hyper productive all the time. You gotta, like, live a little, and you gotta, like, create a boundary at a certain point. And so that's for me, that's what walking is. And so maybe for the next 21 days, you make it a point to walk first thing in the morning, or maybe you make it a point to walk on your lunch break, like, no excuses. And just start there and see how you feel, and go from there. Number 3 is going to be a really important topic that I want to talk about because I get this question probably, like, more than any other question on my Instagram. And so I labeled it different seasons for different splits, like talking about workout splits, paying attention to you and yourself. And I guess what I have a lot of people that will DM me their whole life story and um basically just be like, I don't understand how, like, I'm not seeing results. Like, they give me their workout split and they give me their step count, and they're like, I don't get it. Like, why am I not seeing results? Or um they'll say well, I lift like 5 days a week and my legs tripled in size. Like, I'm not getting lean like you. Like, I don't understand what's wrong, like, what's happening. So there's people, I guess what I'm trying to say is, like, everyone is different, and there are people that will DM me very specific niche things to that person, and I can't that's why it's hard to be, I guess, I'm not a one-on-one coach. Like, I'm a social media, like, fitness influencer that has worked with people one-on-one for years before, but now I've moved into more of a generalized coach where I provide lower ticket items for people. And so the advice that I give is generalized for the most part. And I used to give one-on-one advice where I was training girls one-on-one. I would spend an hour of my time with just them, and I would cater a split to just that person. And it does look different for everybody, is what I'm trying to say. I have experience working with girls that have been obese, like morbidly obese. I've had clients that are super, 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 super skinny. I've had clients that are in their 40s and they're moms and they're trying to get rid of their baby fat. I've had clients that are fresh out of college and they are, like, I've worked with everyone you can possibly imagine one-on-one. And so that's why, I can speak to this topic, but it's hard for me to get back to every single person on my Instagram that's, like, DMing me their whole life story, because I'm like, I don't know you. I don't know what you look like. I don't know, like, I don't have, unfortunately, I don't have the time to, like, give you a specific long, detailed paragraph text of what I would recommend. And I'm sorry if you're listening to this and I haven't gotten back to you, but it can be hard for me to give personal advice to people over Instagram like that, because that's just not really that's not really my job. And so, what I want to say is, everyone's different and you have to pay attention to you. So what I'll say is like, if you're somebody that's, let's say you have been working out for a while and you're like, uh, my legs are getting bigger. Like, I don't, maybe you lift a bunch and you're like, I don't understand, like, it's not working. And, I feel bigger and I don't feel leaner. Like, um, I know that lifting weights is the answer, but like for me, the opposite is happening. Maybe I would just quiet the noise on Instagram and just first of all, I would maybe just look inwardly first. So ask yourself like what's your diet like? Are you eating are you in a calorie surplus? Because that could be it. Your nutrition is a lot of it. So if you're lifting, great, you might be eating a lot more food than you should be, or I don't know. It could be that. It could be your hormones. It could be like something's not right. Maybe you're not sleeping, or maybe you're stressed. Because that's happened to me when my hormones are all out of whack, you guys. Like, I swear I was like 10 to 15 pounds heavier for absolutely no reason. I was doing everything right and I was like not okay. And so that could certainly be it. And it could just be so many things. It could be your training split. Maybe you need to lay off on the weightlifting and maybe you should do more cardio. Maybe you should do 3 weeks of weight training or 3 days a week of weight training and more cardio to just switch things up and see if that works for you. All I'm saying is everyone's different and there are different training splits for different seasons. And I personally have gone through this. I've been through every single workout split you can possibly imagine. And that's how it's intended to be. You're not intended to do one split for your whole life. And maybe for men, this might be different. Like, I feel like Tyler has been doing the same workout split for years and he's fine. Like, I don't know. I think it's just different for guys. So I guess I'm more so talking to girls. But for me, like when I first started, I was weight training like 5 to 6 days a week. I was like really pushing heavy weight. And for me and my body, that's what I needed. And that's what got me to where I am today. I got really, honestly, like skinny, weirdly. Like wasn't intending that to happen, but I just like got really skinny from even lifting that much. Like, and I wasn't tracking my macros. And then for a period of time, that wasn't working for me. And I was getting really stressed. I was eating a lot of food. I was training too much. I gained a bunch of weight, or not a bunch of weight. To me, I just felt puffy. I laid it back. I started running a little bit. So now my training split looks very different from when I started. So all I'm trying to say is you got to pay attention to what your body is telling you. And if you don't know what your body is telling you, you should probably go to the doctor because sometimes something can be wrong and it can be fixed by other things that I personally don't know about or can't tell you or give advice on. But what I can say is 99.9% of the time, like if something is off, something's probably off and you need to just look inwardly. And for me, every time I've done that where I've like paused and been like, okay, something's not working. Like I feel like, you know, I'm maybe lifting too much. I've always been right, like, so when I was doing that split for maybe a little too long and I backed off and I started running and I paid attention to my food a little bit more because I was stress eating, that is when I, went back down to normal. And now I'm a normal, what my normal is. And so, yeah, just silence the noise of Instagram and just pay attention to like how you feel and kind of learn your body cues and learn how to trust your body because many times your body's trying to tell you something, but you just have to listen to it. And then the last thing to wrap it up here is your mental health. So, as we all know, habits, mental shifts, becoming a healthier you, this whole topic of this podcast, it all starts with you. It all starts with your mind and it starts with your your inner world and what's going on inside. Um, and that is where it's so important. And this is equally as important, if not more important, than working out and eating healthy. Like your mental health trumps everything every single time. And there have been seasons and moments where my mental health has gone down for different reasons. I've been very open with you guys on my podcast about just what I've gone through. And almost every single time, like my mental health and my gut are related, or like my sleep or my food, like it's all comes back to how I'm doing in that season. And so I guess I wanted to put this in here to um I guess kind of talk about what I was talking about earlier and then talk about something else. But bringing it back to what I was saying earlier about just paying attention to yourself, you just have to pay attention to what you are feeling. And I can't sit here and tell you sometimes like what your training split can be. I can give you advice, I can point you in the right direction, but um I guess I'm just saying like stay open. Your mental health is all about honestly just staying open to what life has to offer you sometimes. And for me, what I've learned the older I get is we all live differently. We have different beliefs, we have different motives, we have different higher powers. And that's the beauty of humanity, is that everybody has different perspectives and different priorities and different motives. And I think that's just a really beautiful thing. And I think what I've learned over the years and how I've become more balanced is staying open. And what I mean by staying open is sometimes it can be easy to stay very hyper focused on what you were taught as a kid or what you've learned to be true from your parents, or um an opinion about somebody else that matters to you. But I think I've been my happiest self when I've stayed open and taken advice from people that maybe are different than me, where I have stayed curious and I've asked questions from people that are different than me, and I've learned to appreciate how every person is unique and different, and taking life as it comes, I guess, because when you swing too far to the right or to the left, like when you get really extreme with one thing, um, 9 times out of 10, it leads to destruction. Like, it's not really good to do that. And I think that that goes for every aspect of life. I think that goes for macros. It goes for working out. Like, if you're swinging way too far to the right with your macros and your training, like, it's probably not good, because you're not anytime you obsess over something or like get really nitty gritty on something, like it can have a really negative effect on your mental health, and it can have, um, it can become just like your whole world. And that's like not good. It's not how God intended it. You know, you got to like just stay open and stay curious, and let life come as it goes, I guess. I know that sounds really like willy-nilly, but I think like for me that's been the biggest lesson I've learned, is just kind of like letting go in a way of. And that's why like when I receive DMs sometimes of like people stressing about their situation, I just kind of want to say that and be like, just like let it go and see what happens, because a lot of times um the girl this is I'll end with this. When I was training my girls at the gym, every single client I ever had that came in, and I would ask them what their goal was. I wanted to get to know them and their story, and their answer was, I just want to get stronger. Those were the girls that reached their goal 10 times faster and reached it beyond what they thought. But the girls that came in and said, "Oh, I really want to get like, toned arms, but not too big. And I really want to get like skinny legs, but not too skinny. Like I really want a toned butt, but not my quads." I'm like, "Girl, you fix your brain first and then come back and see me, because I don't like when." Basically what I'm saying is, when you're way too nitty gritty on these things, like you're not gonna ever be satisfied and you're not going to ever reach your goals. And that was like kind of a toxic thing for me as a trainer to enter into too sometimes, because I was like, I have zero control over how you put muscle on. Like every body is so unique, every situation is so unique, and I have zero control over the way that you build your muscle. And some girls like get really sculpted shoulders super easy, but they have a hard time building their calves, or like I don't know. You never know. Like it's not anything that you can really control sometimes. And you can certainly do different movements where you can isolate the hamstrings and, get bigger hamstrings or like things like that, or, focus on your lats and get rid of, maybe some flab. Like you can do those things, but, I guess what I'm trying to say is just embrace your body and like what it's doing, because that's how you were made. And, that's the beauty of it. And like, there's no point in like looking over someone else's body and wanting that, because that's not you, and that's not how your body was made. So to wrap it up, those are the 4 things that I would focus on to become a healthier you in this process. And when it comes to body recomp, and when it comes to changing your mind and becoming a better version of yourself, it all comes back to habits. At the end of the day. And those are the 4 things that I've done in my journey. Since the very beginning, I did meal preps. So lock in your nutrition. I did walking, making that a appointment that you can't miss. Consider it as important as brushing your teeth. I also realize that there are different training splits for different seasons of life, and just paying attention to you and yourself. And then lastly, paying attention to your mental health and prioritizing that, and prioritizing whatever your higher power is. It doesn't have to be God, but for me, my faith is like super important to me. And every time I put that in front of any of this is when I'm my happiest self, and appreciating the process and appreciating the journey of changing your body composition, because at the end of the day, it does take time. That's kind of the whole the problem we have in our society, is a lot of people want these quick fixes, and unfortunately, changing your body composition, it does take a time, and it takes changing your habits. And so that's kind of what I'm here to encourage you to do, is just keep that mindset of understanding that every body is different. And as soon as you just focus on like yourself and your mental, all the rest will come. But yeah, you guys, this has been a really fun episode for me. I think next week will probably be a different topic, where maybe we get into some self-help, but these are definitely some topics that I get a lot and wanted to just share them with you. I hope that you enjoyed this episode, and would love to hear feedback as always. And I also look at all of your DMs, and I look at every idea that you send. Like, people will send me ideas for podcasts, and I listen to those. And so please, if you have like things that you want to hear about, if you have questions, like keep DMing me. I love to hear from everybody on what they like to hear, because obviously I want to talk about things that you guys want to hear too. So, but yeah, hope you guys have a great day, and I will catch you guys next week.